China is increasing its Antarctic footprint. This is Beijing's fifth station in the southern polar region.
What was weird about Antarctica?
There's nothing there.
Why do we have these weird structures that no one can really explain? And when you think about the fact that there's so much evidence that we were hit by comets, that we were hit by large objects. Like, I didn't know about that enormous crater that's in Antarctica.
China has shown a lot of interest in the South Pole. You know who else is very interested in Antarctica? Joe Rogan. He has done several podcasts with leading experts on the matter, shedding light on a world of secrets under the South Pole. Today, we'll walk you through the key highlights of several Joe Rogan Experience podcasts on what the Chinese scientists have discovered in Antarctica and why it should terrify the whole world. From enormous geometric structures buried deep under the ice to eerie satellite anomalies that hint at artificial design, the southernmost continent has become ground zero for a growing storm of curiosity, speculation, and silence. Governments remain tight-lipped, while new discoveries only deepen the mystery. Now, with Chinese scientists reporting strange findings, Antarctica is once again in the spotlight for platforms like the Joe Rogan Experience. Let's get started. China's meteoric rise in Antarctic exploration. Most would be surprised to know that as recently as 1980, the People's Republic of China had no official presence on the southern continent. It lacked ice-capable ships, overland transport vehicles, trained polar scientists, and even basic infrastructure for cold weather operations. Yet by 1985, China had defied expectations and established a fully operational, year-round research station, Great Wall Station, within just 5 years of beginning its polar campaign. This meteoric rise was sparked by a pivotal diplomatic gesture. In 1980, Australia, a veteran of Antarctic science under the Antarctic Treaty System, invited Chinese researchers to join one of its expeditions. At that time, China had only recently emerged from the Cultural Revolution, and its scientific institutions were still recovering from a decade of disruption. But Beijing's leadership recognized the strategic significance of Antarctica. And so do other great powers on our planet. Antarctica is not just a frontier of climate and geological research. It is also a geopolitical chessboard on which future influence would be measured. China knows that, and so do its competitors. China launched its first independently organized Antarctic expedition in November 1984. The team, consisting of 591 members, departed Shanghai aboard the Xiong Hong-10, a converted cargo vessel that had been retrofitted with limited scientific equipment and reinforced hull plating. The ship traversed more than 18,500 nautical miles before reaching King George Island in the South Shetland archipelago. There, under brutal wind and snow conditions, the team began construction of what would become the Great Wall Station, at 62 degrees, 13 minutes south and 58 degrees, 58 minutes west. Remarkably, the station was completed in just 40 days, by February 20, 1985, and became China's first permanent research base in Antarctica. Initially housing 25 researchers and capable of supporting up to 60 during the summer season, Great Wall Station focused on atmospheric sciences, glaciology, oceanography, and biodiversity studies. Its location near other countries' facilities, such as Chile's Frei Station and Russia's Bellingshausen Station, positioned China within a cluster of international scientific activity and allowed for early cooperation and data sharing, all under the governance of the 1959 Antarctic Treaty. China did not stop there. Within 4 years, it had taken another massive step. In 1989, it inaugurated Zhongshan Station at 69 degrees, 22 minutes south and 76 degrees, 22 minutes east in East Antarctica's Lasman Hills region, over 3,000 kilometers from its first outpost. This station was significantly more remote and presented formidable logistical challenges, as it required traversing vast ice shelves and harsh terrain without the support of nearby international facilities. Zhongshan Station served a dual purpose. First, it became China's main portal into East Antarctica, offering access to inland ice dome regions critical for paleoclimate research through deep ice core drilling. Second, it was a strategic hub from which China could launch inland expeditions into the unclaimed and least accessible parts of Antarctica, areas such as Dome A, where the polar ice sheet reaches its thickest and most stable configuration. China's ambitions continue to accelerate. In 2009, the Chinese National Antarctic Research Expedition or JRE established a third station, Kunlun Station, located at Dome A, which sits at 80 degrees, 25 minutes south and 77 degrees, 6 minutes east. This is the highest point on the East Antarctic ice sheet at an elevation of over 4,000 meters. This inland facility, operational only during the summer months due to its extreme cold, with temperatures plummeting to -80 degrees Celsius, is uniquely positioned for deep ice core drilling and atmospheric observations. Here, Chinese scientists began the Dome A Ice Core project, aimed at extracting climate data potentially over 1 million years old. The Chinese Academy of Sciences emphasized that this research could yield breakthroughs in understanding Earth's glacial cycles and the effects of greenhouse gases over geological timescales. In 2014, China expanded its operations further by constructing Taishan Station, located between Zhongshan and Kunlun. Taishan serves as a midway support base for overland convoys and a backup station for emergencies. Although smaller in size, it can house 20 scientists and offers high-altitude training and technical support for inland logistics teams. By this time, China had also launched the state-of-the-art Xuelong 2, an advanced icebreaker built in Finland and co-designed by China's Polar Research Institute. Unlike the older Xuelong, originally a Ukrainian-built cargo ship converted into an icebreaker, the new vessel features a double-acting hull design capable of breaking through 1.5 meters of ice while sailing either forward or backward. This made China the first country to operate an icebreaker of this class built from scratch. Fast forward to today and China operates 4 Antarctic research stations, Great Wall, Zhongshan, Kunlun, and Taishan, with a 5th permanent year-round station currently under construction in the Ross Sea region near Inexpressible Island, where ground was broken in 2018. Once completed, this Ross Sea base will make China only the 3rd country, after the United States and Russia, to maintain 5 or more permanent facilities on the continent. China has also built semi-permanent aviation infrastructure, including ice runways to accommodate long-haul aircraft like the Ilyushin Illinois 76, which can deliver up to 40 tons of cargo to the interior. These logistical expansions have allowed Chinese scientists to conduct long-duration inland missions, perform unmanned aerial surveys, deploy ground-penetrating radar systems, and establish automated weather stations across the ice desert. All of this within just 45 years. But is it only scientific curiosity that has brought China here? Antarctica's strategic significance, science, or something more? According to experts interviewed on the Joe Rogan Experience, China's rapid expansion in Antarctica isn't solely driven by scientific curiosity. Instead, it aligns with a broader geopolitical strategy. As multiple guests have pointed out, Antarctica is a continent rich with untapped natural resources: coal, oil, natural gas, precious metals, and even rare earth elements. While the 1959 Antarctic Treaty prohibits mineral extraction and military activity, it is up for review in 2048. That's just over 2 decades from now. China's increasing infrastructure and presence could be a preemptive move to secure strategic footholds before any renegotiation of the treaty. One guest even remarked, "If there's a vault of secrets on this earth, Antarctica is its steel door." And China, he argued, has brought a very big key. Deep radar surveys conducted by JRE teams have detected what they describe as subglacial anomalies beneath the East Antarctic ice sheet, massive symmetrical structures buried beneath 3 kilometers of ice. While officially labeled as geological formations, some scientists who've analyzed the satellite data suggest otherwise. One physicist told Joe Rogan, "These formations are too precise. We're talking about hexagonal ridges, right angles, and structures that span kilometers. Nature doesn't usually do that." Joe Rogan and the hidden structures theory. This is where Joe Rogan's podcast ventures into the controversial but deeply intriguing territory. Are we uncovering remnants of a lost civilization, or something even more alien? Several episodes delve into the theory that Antarctica may have once been home to an ancient advanced civilization, possibly tens of thousands of years ago, before a cataclysmic pole shift submerged it in ice. This theory is not new. It echoes the ideas of researchers like Graham Hancock, who posit that Earth's historical timeline may be far older and more complex than mainstream academia acknowledges. One particularly gripping conversation on Rogan's show involved a geologist who discussed the Pyre Race Map, a 16th-century cartographic document that allegedly shows the Antarctic coastline without ice. How would ancient mapmakers have had this knowledge, centuries before modern satellite imagery? Some speculate that this information could only have come from a pre-glacial, seafaring civilization. When this topic comes up, Rogan often leans in and says something like, "What if we're the ones with amnesia? What if we're just the latest version of something that's happened before?" His guests frequently cite evidence of cyclical catastrophes in Earth's past, solar events, asteroid impacts, and magnetic pole reversals that could have wiped out entire societies and buried their legacies under oceans and ice. China's deep ice drilling projects raise eyebrows. And then there's China's deep ice drilling operations. On the surface, they are framed as climate studies. But skeptics on Rogan's show argue there's more beneath the surface, literally. China's Dome A drilling rig is now capable of penetrating over 3,000 meters into the ice, approaching bedrock. Some theorists suggest that these efforts may be more about reaching what lies beneath the ice than studying ancient air bubbles. What might they find down there? Fossilized forests? Unknown microbes? Or perhaps, according to the more fringe perspectives, structures or artifacts not of this world? Joe Rogan rarely gives full endorsement to such claims, but is fascinated by them, and so are his millions of listeners. One of his most cited quotes on this topic: "The moment you accept that we don't know everything, that's when things get really interesting." Antarctica might be the biggest secret on Earth. The silence of governments. Guests frequently point out how little information governments share about Antarctic discoveries. While science stations publish routine research on ice cores, weather patterns, and biology, anything unusual is quickly labeled classified or is met with deafening silence. Even the United States McMurdo Station, one of the largest bases on the continent, has strict zones of clearance and a steady rotation of military aircraft. China's bases are increasingly following suit, with high fences, restricted drone flights, and encrypted communications. Why the secrecy, if it's all just climate science? What happens next? As the 2048 review of the Antarctic Treaty approaches, geopolitical tensions may rise. Joe Rogan's guests speculate that China is preparing not just for scientific leadership in Antarctica, but for a post-treaty world where resource claims, military access, or even archaeological disclosures might become reality. One of Rogan's most quoted observations sums it up best. "Antarctica is like the last clean slate on Earth. And everyone's fighting with invisible ink." Whether it's alien structures, lost civilizations, or just a cold war of cold climates, the southernmost continent continues to attract the attention of world powers, and of curious minds like Rogan's. As more research is released, and more whistleblowers or insiders come forward, Antarctica may reveal secrets that could rewrite not just history, but humanity's future.